What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. So today, guys, we are going to do another Battle World book. Battle World, or Warzone, was a way for Marvel to do tie-ins to the Secret Wars event they had back in 2015. Because remember, when Doctor Doom became God Doom, he was able to make a new Earth, except he called this new Earth Battle World. Now, with this new Earth, what he did was he was able to make Battle World off the fragments of different universes from the multiverse. Now, on top of that, it was also a way for Marvel to kind of redo some of the famous storylines about their characters they have done over the years. For example, Civil War was redone. So was Age of Apocalypse. A lot of stories were redone all over again as a way for Marvel to make more money. Now, all of the books were like that, but this one today we're going to cover is Spider Island. So Spider Island was a 2010 Spider-Man crossover event where basically Spider-Man was the star of that event because, hey, it's called Spider Island. But what happened was in New York, a bunch of people in New York were bit by spiders, and these spiders, of course, made them spider people. Now, at first, it did seem like this master plan was being done by the Jackal, one of the old Spider-Man villains. But to come to find out, it was not the Jackal. Instead, it was the Spider Queen, who was trying to use this as a way to build an army of spider people under her control. Because once you got bit by a spider, yes, you did get spider powers, but that was only the first step. After that, you became a monster, a spider-like monster that she could control. And so that what happened in Spider Island. Now, Spider-Man was able to find a way to save the day. But in this book right here, Warzone Spider Island, is kind of like, what if Spider-Man couldn't save the day? What if Spider Island went in a different direction where the day was not saved? The people stayed under the control of the Spider Queen. And so in this kingdom or this area of Battle World where Spider Island did not go like usually planned in the original main Marvel universe, we actually pick up with Captain Marvel. Now, the reason why we pick up with her is because it is Marvel trying to show us how bad Spider Island is in this area of Battle World, where heroes were also turned into spider-like creatures that are basically being controlled by the Spider Queen. And so right now you have Captain Marvel just flying around the city looking for a particular target. Now, of course, she is not the star of the book, and neither is Spider-Man either. Now, the star of the book is actually Flash Thompson, aka Agent Venom. Now, this makes sense. Let me explain. So around this point in Marvel Comics, Agent Venom was very popular because what Marvel did was they would give somebody else the Venom suit, different people to wear the Venom suit. Now, at first, it was Eddie Brock, and he was popular in the 80s and the 90s. But right after that, Eddie Brock began the process of losing his popularity. And so Marvel gave a suit over to the Scorpion. And that actually was a good idea because fans were kind of liking the idea of Scorpion being Venom. But after that, they gave it over to Flash Thompson. Now, Flash Thompson is the old high school bully of Peter Parker. But at this point, Flash had lost both of his legs while fighting in a war. Now, he did join a government agency, which of course led to him actually being able to get the Venom suit and having somewhat control over the Venom suit. But either way, he became Agent Venom, this cooler looking version of Venom. Now, with that being said though, right now we see him and Vision trying to escape with a bunch of medical gear, because we come to find out not every single person was turned into a spider creature that the Spider Queen control. There are a few people out there who have been hiding from the Spider Queen, and Agent Venom has been helping to hide them from the Spider Queen. But of course, they still need medical gear to help people who could be very sick for different kinds of reasons. But right now, you have Agent Venom and Vision being overrun by these spider-like creatures. Now, luckily for Agent Venom and Vision, they do have a third person to help them out. And that guy is Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night. And this is actually a pretty cool idea because when Jack is in his human form, of course, he's a spider-like creature and the Spider Queen actually controls him. But when it's nighttime, he turns into a werewolf. And when he does that, of course, the Spider Queen can no longer control him because he is a werewolf, no longer a spider-like creature. Now, with him being here right now at the right time to turn into a werewolf to help out Agent Venom and also Vision to fight against these spider-like creatures, they are able to actually escape through the sewers of the city. Now, after getting away, this is the moment we actually learn that when it comes to Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, Agent Venom makes sure not to give him every single piece of information. And the reason why I say that because Agent Venom does have a hidden base where he's hiding those people who were not infected by the Spider Queen. But when it comes to Jack Russell, when he is a werewolf, he is a good guy. But when he's in his human form and turns into a spider-like creature, he's under the control of the Spider Queen. And that right there is very important. And the reason why, because when it comes to the Spider Queen, she can read your mind when she has control over you. And so Agent Venom wants to make sure that he does not give away enough piece of information so that the Spider Queen could possibly learn where Agent Venom hidden base is at. Now, this is the moment you do have Jack Russell explain about a cure. Now, that is the main point of this book, to find a cure to fight against the Spider Queen. Now, you do have Agent Venom tell us that there was a cure being made. The problem was, though, it did not work, and by the time they tried to actually complete the cure, of course, the city was overrun by the Spider Queen and her spider monsters. But you have the Werewolf by Night tell Agent Venom, no. When I was in my human form, I heard them talking about a cure at a certain location. If you go over there, you could possibly find a cure to hopefully save us and get rid of this spider-like disease we have going on. And so you have Agent Venom leave, but wondering, is it true? Is there an actual cure for all of this? Now, the big question is right now, where is Spider-Man? Because in the original Spider Island book, Spider-Man was the person to save the day. But in this one, he's not. And so that's the big question. What happened to Spider-Man? He died. Because you have Flash tell us that there was a last big battle between the Spider Queen and her spider monsters fighting against Spider-Man and the heroes who have not turned yet. And that battle got really big. Now, Agent Venom, he was there at that battle to help out. The problem was, though, there was a sonic scream. And usually when it comes to a symbiote, that is one of their weaknesses. And so when that sonic scream came out, it basically took the suit away from Flash Thompson, and so he had no choice but to hide. But of course, with him hiding, he was unable to actually help the heroes fight against the Spider Queen and her spider people. And so we're left to believe that Spider-Man died in that battle. But in the present day, we do see Agent Venom arrive at his hidden base where, of course, he does have a few people who have not been affected by the spider virus. And of course, you do have Vision begin the process of actually using the medical gear that they have received to help these people out. Now, we do come to find out that Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, she's one of the last few heroes to actually survive the Spider takeover. And right now, you have Agent Venom and Vision telling Spider-Woman about a cure. Now, of course, when it comes to Jessica Drew, she knows there was a cure in works before the complete takeover of Spider Island, but that cure was lost forever. And so you have Agent Venom say, no. The werewolf by night, he told me there is a cure. And of course, it is at Horizon Labs. If we're able to actually get there to find that cure, then we could possibly finally end this. But of course, they're concerned about the idea they don't have enough firepower to actually fight for some kind of cure that could possibly be there or not. But of course, for Agent Venom, they don't have a choice. They have to use what they have to actually find a cure to hopefully fight against the Spider Queen. And so the next few pages are really more of our heroes actually going over to Horizon Labs, hoping to find some kind of cure to this spider disease. Now, of course, when they get there, the building is overrun by spider people, which makes sense because the entire city of New York is being controlled by spider people and the Spider Queen. And so when they get there, this building, of course, like I said earlier, it is covered in spider people. And so Vision, Agent Venom, the Spider-Woman, they have to work together to fight against these spider creatures just to get inside the building, but to also get into one particular room that could possibly have the cure. But here comes the problem when they actually reach that room. That basically it was a trap, because when they get into that room, the room is empty. There's no cure. And that is the moment we come to find out the reason why the werewolf by night believed there was an actual cure in that building is because when he was in his spider human form, the Spider Queen kept feeding him information because she knew as soon as he turned back into his werewolf form, he would believe the information that he had received was actually true, and he would tell Agent Venom, which he did. And of course, Agent Venom and his team came here looking for a cure, but there is no cure though. But this is also a cool moment, because that is the moment you have Agent Venom say, don't worry, I had a plan B, and that plan B was using other projects here in Horizon Labs. They were working on different kinds of projects when it comes to DNA. And what I mean by that is basically he was able to realize when it comes to the werewolf by night, when he is in his werewolf form, the Spider Queen can no longer control him. So what if we turn the people of this city into a different kind of animal, a different kind of creature, where she no longer has control over them? And so we see Agent Venom being able to turn Steve Rogers into a werewolf, the Hulk into a lizard, and also Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, into a vampire. He basically realized if we change their DNA, she can no longer control them. And that right there, of course, does boost their numbers up. You now have Steve Rogers, you have a Hulk, and you have Captain Marvel. But that is the moment you have Iron Man appear with a bunch more spider-like creatures as a way to attack our new group of heroes. And so when we get into the second chapter of this storyline, we actually do pick up where the first chapter left off at, with our heroes and their new allies fighting against a group of spider-like creatures attacking them right now and trying to capture them. And honestly, the first few pages of this chapter is all about that, with our heroes trying to fight against different like spider-like creatures. So like you have Iron Fist, who has been turned into a spider-like creature. You have Iron Man that was also turned into a spider-like creature. And so right now it's our heroes trying to fight against that and also get away from them. Now Hulk being a lizard is a great idea because Hulk is no longer under the control of the Spider Queen. And so with that, he was able to make an escape route for our heroes to take to hopefully get away to think of a new game game plan. But when it comes to Agent Venom, you always have backup plans left and right. And he also has a plan C. And that plan C is actually the Green Goblin formula. And this right here, I did not expect to see, because after the lizard, the vampire, and also a werewolf idea, I was kind of wondering what else are they going to do? And I did not see the Green Goblin formula being used in this storyline. I did not see it coming. But you do have Agent Venom actually use that serum on Tony Stark. And this is huge because, yes, Tony Stark is no longer under the control of the Spider Queen, but on top of that, he could possibly turn into another Green Goblin. But of course, it will take some time before his mind goes completely insane. But for right now, he does have control over his body, and you have Agent Venom tell the rest of the heroes they need to leave and they need to go back to his base and to think of a new game plan on how they are going to bring down the Spider Queen and her spider creatures. Now, once they get back to Agent Venom's base, you do have Agent Venom begin the process to make sure that every single person is taken care of. Because when it comes to Steve Rogers, yes, he is a werewolf, but he does have his mind most of the time. And so you have Agent Venom hand over his shield that was lost in the big battle against the Spider Queen. When it comes to Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, she's a vampire now. And so she needs blood packs to kind of help her control her vampire side. Now, Hulk, he's a lizard. Nothing really big right there. But when it comes to Tony Stark, he's about to become the next Green Goblin. And so what Venom does is he gives him one of the old Norman Osborn Goblin laboratories as a way to let Tony Stark work out of, to hopefully find different ways to actually defeat the Goblin Queen. Now, they're on a timetable when it comes to Tony Stark, because that serum, that Green Goblin serum, sooner or later, it is going to turn him into a Green Goblin. And matter of fact, it begins the process right now of taking over his mind, because after you have Agent Venom and Tony Stark basically say, hey, listen, we need our next target, they decide to attack an old AIM base. Of course, AIM stands for Advanced Idea Mechanics. But that base right there, that old one, is being heavily protected for some unknown reason. And Tony Stark believes that there is something in that base that could technically help them win the war against the Spider Queen. But getting back to what I said earlier, that when it comes to the Goblin formula beginning to take over Tony Stark's mind, you have Tony Stark make a brand new armor just like that. He calls it the Goblin armor. It's green and purple, just like the Green Goblin. It's showing us that his mind is beginning to change. Now, once they're able to actually reach the AIM base, you do have our heroes fight against some more spider-like creatures like Ant-Man, Black Panther, the Beast, Hank McCoy the Beast, and MODOK. But of course, our heroes were able to get inside. And once they do get inside, they do fight a few more scientists as well. But they were also able to find one particular person. And that person is Stegron. Now, Stegron is the dinosaur man. And basically, he was able to turn people into dinosaurs. And so, of course, it's Agent Venom trying to use this scientist as a way to figure out a way to turn more people into dinosaurs, as a way to break their connection with the Spider Queen. And honestly, this is a good idea. If you have a way to defeat the Spider Queen, find more ways to actually help you build that idea up even faster to hopefully help you win the war. But then you have Vision say, there's something else you must see. Something else is also in this lab. And that is the moment they go into another room. And in that room, you have them find no other than Peter Parker. Spider-Man is actually alive. Where Agent Venom thought Peter Parker was dead this whole time, in reality, he was alive. And he was held inside this laboratory by the Spider Queen. And this could technically be a huge thing for our heroes. And so when we get into the third chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with our heroes trying to leave with Spider-Man, because this is huge. He is alive. And when it comes to Spider-Man, he always finds a way to win. And so with that, you have our heroes believing, hey, we got Spider-Man, especially Agent Venom, because at this point in Marvel Comics, Flash Thompson has no idea that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And something you have to remember is that when it comes to Flash Thompson throughout the years of Marvel Comics, he was Spider-Man's #1 fan. And so to see Spider-Man here right now alive and well, and knowing that usually Spider-Man always finds a way to win tough situations, it's Agent Venom like, we have to get out of here. We have to leave with Spider-Man because he could be the way for us to finally defeat the Spider Queen. We finally found our way to win this war. And so you have our heroes work together to actually escape the AIM base with Spider-Man. Now, the Spider Queen, she hears about that because, of course, now she knows that the heroes have found Peter Parker and they were able to escape with Peter Parker. On top of that, she knows what's going on with her spider creatures, that they're now being altered. They're being changed into different kinds of creatures, which, of course, she cannot control. Now, of course, she does freak out at first, but she does believe there is a way for her to win still. And so she says they do have one weakness that she can basically use as a way to win. Now, when we jump back over to our heroes who are right now hiding out at the base that Agent Venom had made, that is the moment you have Flash Thompson find out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And Peter Parker finds out that Agent Venom is Flash Thompson. Now, remember, over the years in Marvel Comics, Flash Thompson used to bully Peter Parker a lot. But this is Marvel saying, hey, these two characters have moved on from those days and now they can work together to hopefully save New York from this spider disease. But with that being said, you didn't have Flash Thompson want to give Peter Parker complete control of this whole organization that he had put together. But you have Peter say, no. This is your thing. This is your organization. These are your plans. The only one who can actually do all of this and lead us in the right direction is you. And I put all my faith in you, like Steve Rogers has, Spider-Woman, and the rest of the group here. And so if you want us to win, we have to have you as our leader. And that is huge because Flash is like my #1 hero. Was a kid I used to bully, and now he believes in me to save the city. That is huge. But right after that, you do have Peter Parker kind of voice his opinions on different things that Agent Venom has done, starting off with the idea of working with a bad guy like Stegron. Now, Peter Parker hates the idea, but Peter Parker realized they have no choice. If this man is able to find different ways to help us win against the Spider Queen, listen, I'll be quiet and let it go. But I still do not like the idea. On top of that, I do not like the idea of Tony Stark having the Green Goblin formula flowing through his body right now. But again, it's kind of like we have no choice. I'll let it go. But I'm telling you, these are some bad ideas. I better see some good ideas down the road if we actually want to be able to defeat the Spider Queen. Now, you do have Peter Parker being able to create more lizard formula. Of course, the same formula that had turned the Hulk into the lizard. Now, when it comes to Peter Parker, he wants to use this formula to save 4 particular characters. And these 4 characters are, of course, his ex-girlfriends. So, like, let's start off with Mary Jane, Betty Brant, Sharon Carter, and Carly Cooper. Of course, they all have been turned into spider creatures, but he wants to use the lizard formula that he had made to save those girls because he still cares for them. And also he wants to break their connection with the Spider Queen and also boost their numbers up when they finally fight against the Spider Queen. And we actually do get a page that shows us that our heroes actually do use the lizard formula that Peter Parker had made to save all the ex-girlfriends of Peter Parker. But once that is done, they do take the ladies and they actually do head back over to Venom's base. Now, here comes another problem, because as soon as our heroes are able to get back over to Venom base to make sure all the ex-girlfriends of Peter Parker is actually okay, that is the moment they realize that there were some kind of trackers on every single one of them. And that tracker, of course, gave away the location of Venom's secret base. And so with that, that is the moment you do have a bunch of spider creatures begin to pop in out of nowhere to attack the base to hopefully capture our heroes. And so right now, our heroes are actually outnumbered. Now, Agent Venom wants to use the Hulk as a way to fight against these spider creatures, but that is the moment you have Tony Stark say, no, you all need to leave. I'll stay behind because I'm doomed to become the Green Goblin. And matter of fact, that formula is eating away at my brain at a faster rate, meaning that sooner or later I will be the Green Goblin completely. And that sooner is coming very soon. And so I better go ahead and sacrifice myself to take out a few of these spider creatures along with me to give you guys more time before I actually turn into the Green Goblin and cause you guys even more problems. And so we do see Tony Stark basically sacrifice himself to give our heroes a chance to escape. But while that was happening, it's Agent Venom saying, we need to find a way to actually defeat the Spider Queen. And so getting into the 4th chapter, you basically pick up with everyone getting ready for the final battle against them and the Spider Queen. Now, of course, you do have Agent Venom begin the process of kind of thinking that he should not be the leader of this group. But you do have everyone kind of remind him that he was the only person who was able to put this entire group together. It was all his plans, all his moves that he had made to bring everyone together once again to actually have a chance to fight against the Spider Queen. And so right now you actually have Peter Parker Spider-Man give Agent Venom one of his old suits as a way to protect him against the sonic blast the Spider Queen could possibly use on him. Because remember, when it comes to symbiotes, one of their weaknesses is sonic blast. But either way though, you do actually have all our characters coming together and realizing that this is their chance to win this battle against the Spider Queen. They have all their different weapons, all their different plans with them right now. And their main goal is to use all of them to finally win this war. And we actually see on the other side, we do see the Spider Queen right now getting her army ready for the big war between her and, of course, the heroes who want to get rid of her. But of course, she still has the numbers, meaning that if our heroes try to fight against her and her army, there is a huge possibility that they could possibly lose this battle. Now, remember what I said earlier. When it comes to Stegron, he was able to play around with genetics when he first appeared in Marvel Comics. And honestly, he's been doing that a lot of times in Marvel Comics. But he's one of those characters not a lot of fans know of. But what he does in this storyline is kind of cool, because he does go over to an old museum. In that museum, there are a bunch of dinosaur bones. And so you have Stegron use one of his tech to actually bring those dinosaurs back to life. To, of course, give our heroes more numbers in different ways to fight against the Spider Queen. Now, of course, you do have the Spider Queen actually see that happening down in the city, but she knows one thing, that the dinosaurs are basically a distraction, because she knows the heroes must be somewhere else. The heroes must be nearby. And of course, the heroes were nearby, because that is the moment we actually do see our heroes just jumping into her room and beginning the process of the final battle right here and now. And you have all of our heroes we saw over this book trying to take her down. And honestly, it's a crazy battle, because Spider Queen is a very strong character and actually does give our heroes a huge challenge. But this fight does last for a few pages, and there are moments where it does look like our heroes might actually lose this battle against the Spider Queen. But of course, when it comes to Agent Venom and all his plans, and the heroes as well, they are able to overcome this difficult challenge. But here comes the big question though. Are they actually going to kill the Spider Queen? That right there is very important. Are they actually going to kill the Spider Queen? And of course, when it comes to Peter Parker, he's kind of like, there is always another way. But the question is, though, is there really another way right now? Because she has every single spider creature under her control. If you don't kill her, those people out there will still be in her control. Except the problem is, though, you have our heroes take too long to decide what they are going to do to the Spider Queen, because that is the moment she begins to evolve. And when she does evolve, she grows into a huge spider-like creature. And of course, now it's kind of like, okay, well, now we have a round 2. And can our heroes actually win in this second round against the Spider Queen? And so getting into the final chapter of this storyline, we actually pick up with our heroes fighting with the new evolution of the Spider Queen. Now, of course, with her being in this new evolution, she's basically too strong for our heroes. They try their best, they try to find different ways to win, but the problem is, though, she is just too strong. And so it does seem like maybe our heroes are actually going to lose this battle against the Spider Queen. But that is the moment we come to find out there is one last way to actually win this battle. And that way is basically using the symbiote. Use a symbiote as a way to take over her body, to make her really kill herself, as a way to win this war. And so that is the moment you have the symbiote actually take over the body of the Spider Queen. So really, Flash Thompson gave it to her, hoping the symbiote can find a way to get rid of her. Now, technically, there is only one way to kill her, and that one way is to make her fall off the edge of one of the tallest buildings in New York. Now, of course, you do have the Spider Queen try her best to break free, and matter of fact, she tries to use the Sonic Scream on herself as a way to make the symbiote release her, but of course, the symbiote just keeps fighting on, trying its best to actually kill it off. And that is the moment we see the symbiote take the body of the Spider Queen and making her jump off the edge of the tallest building and making her fall to her death. Now, the symbiote did die in the fall, but of course, Spider Queen did survive. And so it does look like our heroes have basically failed, but that is the moment you do have some of the dinosaurs that Stegron had brought back to life, use them as a way to eat the Spider Queen alive. And so, of course, she is now finally dead, and it seems like our heroes can finally move on from this crazy nightmare they have been living in for a few months or possibly years. Now, the symbiote is not the only thing to die. Matter of fact, Flash Thompson died as well, because when he was giving over the symbiote suit to the Spider Queen, he was thrown into a wall, and of course he was badly injured. And without the actual symbiote being there to heal him up, he died. And so Flash Thompson died as a hero, but of course he was able to get rid of the Spider Queen and save this island, to save the city. And so to wrap up this story, you actually have a Thor appear. Now, this Thor is actually part of the Thor Corps. And let me explain. When Dr. Doom took over the Earth, or really made Battleworld, when he made Battleworld, he made a police force. And that police force was the Thor Corps. Now, with the police force, basically, they went to different areas across Battleworld to basically hold order. Now, the reason why this Thor is here is because with the Spider Queen being gone, there is now no leader of this area on Battleworld. And so right now, they need to pick a new leader. On top of that, they need to give this area a new name. And so, of course, they do name this area after Flash Thompson, and you do have Peter Parker kind of become the new leader of this area. But of course, this is how the story ends. And honestly, I really like the story a lot, because even though this was a Spider-Man storyline, it really put Spider-Man in the back burner and put Flash Thompson in the front burner, and I honestly love the idea. But with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.